Good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel. We're in the depths of the emergency storage shed. I'm just trying to pump myself up to get into one today. A few boxes actually we've got to unpack. Good coffee gets me going. Thanks for coming along. We're up to episode 137 of the clean out of this shed. I'm standing about halfway, so we have pushed through the halfway barrier, although there is stuff on the wall on that side. But we've been working through these empty, well, soon to be empty cardboard boxes. I think we've got a bit of household stuff coming up, bit of china, bit of glass, but who knows? We've found boxes of jewelry before, and when you least expect it, there's something amazing. Let's get a couple of boxes out today and see what we can find. I think the rule of thumb in this corner is get the one that's most likely to fall if we don't get it. So we're aiming for reducing the chance of an avalanche or a box-alanche or a treasure avalanche. Not a scrap avalanche, could be a scrap avalanche. Some scrappers talk about having a landslide of scrap in their workshop. Well, we're not going to have that, I don't think. In fact, if these fall, we're likely to have breakages. I'm pretty sure this will be glass or china or something. It's all wrapped up in old newspaper. Probably came from the same lot that we unboxed a few weeks ago. So I think this one's first because it's hanging over the edge. Maybe that one because the box is coming, oh, hang on, the one on top, the box is coming apart, and someone cleverly said there's a market for X boxes, and that is an X box. It's now just cardboard folded up at the sides. So I think those two first. We'll see how quickly we get through them. We'll see what treasures we discover. If we get through them quickly, we might grab that Victorian pears one underneath because that's almost an X box as well. Okay, my coffee's empty. We have the first box. Let's start unwrapping. Now, if I remember correctly, last time we checked the newspaper dates, it was about 2010, which is probably about how long it's been wrapped up. And I still don't, yeah, 2010, so same lot. I still don't know if it was other people that wrapped it up or myself. Oh, this is nice. That's Carlton ware. It's a salt shaker. Hopefully the rest of the crew at set is here. There's the, oh, they both salt shakers. Usually pepper shakers have multiple holes. Oh, that's got a crack right through the bottom, right up each side. Goodness, that's only just holding together. So not much value there. I wonder if we can open, look at that. Oh, there you go, like cracking open an egg. So that was no value. It's been cracked right through for a long time. We could glue it back together. It's not really worth it. And besides, we've got a replacement salt shaker. Actually, that's a fox, I think that's the foxglove pattern, and that's like a buttercup, so different patterns, but yeah. I didn't break it, it was like it when I found it. All right, let's see if we got more Carlton ware, because Carlton ware is fairly popular. That's probably 1950s. It's not worth as much as it was back in the 80s and 90s, but some people still collect it. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I've seen that mark before. It's a capital M with an R underneath. I don't remember what it is. This looks a bit later, more 1980s. It's got a chip off the side. It looks like it's got a flake of paint off the cat's head. So, interesting mug. I guess it's a mug. Maybe it's a vase. It's got a handle though. Yeah. Don't think it's anything special. I'll have to try and look up that mark. If you know what it is, let me know in the comments. But I don't think it's anything valuable at all. What's in this one? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So that is Australian pottery, 1930s or so. This isn't actually marked. It may have had a number there, but it's been ground off on the base. This is renewed pottery, which was made in Melbourne, I think Preston area. In the 1930s, they started making this sort of art pottery when the Depression hit, because most of the potters around Melbourne were big into sewer pipes, chimney pots, all building materials. And then, of course, when the Depression hit, the building trade slumped, and a lot of them went into trying to make ends meet by producing lots of different beautifully glazed pottery, art pottery, mostly vases, but all sorts of other things. This one's relatively plain. It's got nice drip glazing. It's ribbed around the sides. It's only small, as you can tell from my hands. But renewed was one of the many potters. There was a lot of potters around the Brunswick, Preston, northern suburbs area of Melbourne. Cornwall's was one. Hoffman's was a big one. There was plenty of them. and a lot of them did this sort of stuff, but usually you can tell the pottery from the style. Some weren't marked, some are beautifully engraved, or not engraved, I guess inscribed, remued, which is actually, if I remember correctly, it's actually the surname of the potter's wife spelt backwards, so it was Demure, I think, something like that. But yeah, remued pottery used to be worth a lot. It's still quite collectible, and any pieces you get with applied decoration like gum nuts or a branch handle, or even animals. I once had a koala on a larger remued vase that was worth quite a few $1,000s. So this one, because it's a slightly unusual glaze, usually they're greens and browns. This one's more of a purple and an orange. I think I'd have $30 or $40 on that. Probably 10 to 20 years ago it might have made double that. But yeah, really nice piece. Happy to unwrap that. And there's a bit of history on Australian potters, at least what I've learnt in my travels. That looks very cheap. It's, I think they call it slip cast. It's just made in a mould. It's quite modern. It's very dirty. No marks underneath. Possibly a made in China piece. A bit of a clean up. People do collect jugs. We might get $5 for it, but nothing special there. Okay. Now, I appreciate a lot of you aren't from Australia, and I guess your own countries all have their own style of pottery. I know Christine collects West German pottery, which is quite easy to pick from the styles and very collectible. We have a little Asian saucer here. And oh, this one's different. This is probably an English one. It's not actually marked, but it looks more English. They're not really saucers. They're just more like a pin dish. Oh, that's a matching pair. So they're cute. We'll probably get $5 for the pair. That might end up in the $1 box, but not much value there. So I think I like the pottery better than the glassware. Oh, this looks interesting too. I think has it been repaired? No, I think it's just got something stuck to it. I don't think it's been repaired. It has got a crack down the back. That looks weighed to me. Let's have a look. And it's made in Ireland. It's called shamrock pottery, but it's much the same as weighed pottery. And that's quite a nice piece. A donkey sitting down on the job, towing a wagon of sorts. It's a shame it's got a crack up the back, but it's not really that noticeable. And I think that other stuff will clean off. I don't know shamrock pottery at all. I was just talking about other countries having their own potteries. I recognise the glaze as, I think Wade was Irish, so made in Ireland. This is shamrock. I'd have to do some checking on that. I think it's a nice piece, but I don't know how collectible it is. I would probably have $10 on it, even with the crack, but I will check online to see if they happen to be more sought after than that. All right. Looks like we have a little bowl. That looks like it's written in Texter. So I'd say that's unmarked. Nothing special. It does look rather retro. But yeah, I don't think... It might be $5. What is this? Letters. It says letters on there. It's a sausage dog. It's a bit chipped and damaged. Made in Japan. I probably would have guessed at that. The Japanese did come up with a lot of really quirky kitsch stuff from the 50s, 60s into the 70s. It's got a little red felt tongue. But it's obviously incomplete. And I don't know if there's anything else in here that goes with it. Possibly had some sort of, I don't know, what's that on the top? Unless, well, it says letters, but I don't know how letters would have sat in there. There must have been something to go with it. Don't think there's much value there though. We have a little bunny rabbit salt shaker, not marked, but there could be something like Derbyshire, which I think was a Western Australian pottery that came up with a lot of salt and peppers and little animal figurines. I'd have to check online for that. Very cute. Could be Japanese, maybe not. Don't know. As I said, the Japs did come out with a lot of quirky stuff, and they did have all sorts of really weird and wonderful salt and pepper shakers. And I did read somewhere that at one stage there was an import duty on ornaments, and the Japanese got around that by drilling holes in their ornaments and then called them salt and pepper shakers. And because they were then a piece of kitchenware, they weren't subject to the import duties. A story I read, I don't know if there's truth to that matter, but it's feasible, because the amount of ones you see that are called salt and pepper shakers that would be totally impractical to sprinkle salt or pepper from are quite common. There's a Chinese style little bowl. It looks very, very crude, but I don't know that it's as old as it looks. It's got absolutely no wear to the base. It's actually quite sharp where it sits on the table. I think if that was a genuine antique piece of Chinese pottery, it would be well worn on the base, and that's something you need to look for. You see a lot of Chinese pottery posted online in Facebook groups and on eBay and that sort of stuff, where they will claim that it's from such and such a dynasty and it's hundreds of years old and it might look similar. But surely if it's 100 years old, you get wear to the base. That feels like it was made yesterday. It's quite rough. So, in my opinion, I don't think that's worth much, if anything. Okay, lots more china in here. We have a little sugar bowl here with a silver, well, possibly silver plated, but I think all the silver plating's been polished off. Lid, space for the spoon. Oh, is that a spoon? Not really. That's like the handle of a spoon. I don't know what that, I'm sure it doesn't go with this. Is that magnetic? No. So I don't know what that's for, and it's quite heavy. And it doesn't bend very easily. Don't know. So that's glass. It's got a ground glass top. I can see a bit of wear to the base. I think it's got a bit of age to it, and certainly the top looks like it's got plenty of age to it. So that could be 40s or 50s era. Give it a wash up. It's not going to polish up any good because there's no silver left on that. It's down to the base metal, which is pretty much just brass. Or is it? Oh, it actually says, I think there's some marks here. And if I can get a close-up, I'll take a photo and put it up now. But I'm pretty sure that says EPNS, which stands for electroplated nickel silver. And that means that it's electroplated with silver over a base metal that they call nickel silver. But nickel silver does not contain any silver. It's an alloy of copper and I forget what else, tin or zinc or something. But yeah, the only silver that was on this was the plating, and it's been polished off. So that can, if you're scrapping these things, that could pretty well go straight in your brass bin because it's an alloy of copper. But I think we'll get $5 or something for that, maybe, cleaned up. All right, this is taking us a while. We have a sugar bowl here, no marks and a chip, so I don't see much value there at all. We have, okay, an egg cup, Stockholm. So a Souvenir egg cup. Stockholm is Sweden, if I'm okay on my geography, which generally I'm not. A little ornament here, very crude. I think it has some sort of writing on there. I might have to check that, but I don't see much value in that. All right, we have some little cream jugs. Queen Anne, Bone China, England. That's a very cute little jug. A unusual shaped retro bowl. It's kind of a lusterware inside. No marks. I almost picked that as maybe a German type pottery, but there's no marks on it. A really nice sugar bowl here. No damage that I can see. And it's Windsor, Foley, China. So English. And a lovely sugar bowl here as well. So we sometimes sell these with their jugs. If we have them, that's Shelley. And Shelley is one of the more collectible English chinas. Used to be worth quite a bit, but none of the English china really brings much these days, unfortunately. But that Shelley sugar bowl would be $10 to $15 on its own anyway still. A little leaf dish here, pretty much just a trinket dish or pin dish. Queen Anne, Bone China, England. That was the same as the jug. Was it? It's same brand, but slightly different pattern. Now we have some saucers here, which have the teacup thing offset on one side. And these are known as a tennis set. That's Old Foley James Kent. Probably 1950s, these ones. This one is the same. And even though I don't think I have the matching cups for them, the teacup sat on the one side. So the idea was that you could get your cup of tea, put a couple of slices or a sandwich on this end. So they're called a tennis set. I guess, you know, tennis in the old days, they had afternoon tea on fine china. We didn't when I played. That's Noritake, that one, which is quite a nice souvenir teacup. Belgrave, Horseshoe Bend, and if you can see the picture there, that's the famous Puffing Billy steam train, which still runs in Melbourne from Belgrave to, I forget, Emerald? I don't know. Someone down that way will probably tell me. So I don't think we have the cups to suit the tennis set saucers, and I don't think we have a saucer to suit that. So we've got lots of odds in here. That's a nice souvenir. That's a Shelley one. Very nice. A lot of Australian souvenir ware was done by English crockery companies, and I guess they had the artwork done over there, and I don't know how they did it, some sort of agreement. So that's the Arch, Avenue of Honour Arch, Victory Arch in Ballarat in Victoria. So that's quite a nice souvenir piece. Someone from Ballarat would certainly be interested in that. And this teacup is another souvenir one, Barron Falls via Cairns, North Queensland. I haven't heard of that one. North Queensland is a long way from Victoria. For those of you overseas, North Queensland is, well, southern Queensland from here is about 2,000 kilometres. So it's a long way to northern Queensland. Australia's a big place. That's Royal Stafford. So another souvenir teacup. We don't have saucers to go with any of these, or do we? Yes, we do. That's the same picture. Barron Falls in Queensland. So we do have a duo or cup and saucer here. Probably $10 I'd put on that. Someone from that particular area might pay more, but it's unlikely they're going to call into the shop. All right, some saucers. This looks like Wedgwood, but it probably isn't. It might be a Japanese copy. It's not marked, so I'd say that's just a Wedgwood copy or a lookalike. Not much value there. This would definitely be an English pin dish here, typical English fox hunt type scene with the old cottage there. No marks, but I'm pretty sure that would be English. I might get $5 for that. A little plate here, which again's Staffordshire, England, Empire Porcelain Company. Haven't heard of that one. Maybe $5. Sometimes with all these, I'll just have a stack of them in the shop at $5 a pick and see how they go. Kind of let the customer decide what's worth $5 and what isn't. A very heavy little vase here. Oh, what's it got on the back? I don't even know how to pronounce that. And so that's French. Not sure if it was supposed to have a lid, but it is a French vase. It says Digoin, something like that. Not sure. No idea what that's worth. I'd probably just put $5 on it in the shop. Don't expect it's going to be worth a lot. Okay, a little ornamental jug here. I think they call that crestware, just with a little coat of arms, City of London. I can't read that properly. This one is a wall vase or a pocket vase. You just hang them on the wall. I guess you'd put just dried arrangement in there or some flowers. This one's cracked down the back. You can see it through the yellow glaze there. And it's, I think that's Gunda, which is collectible, probably 70s era. It's chipped at the bottom there too. I'd have to check online if it brings a great deal, but I have seen this sort of stuff sell okay. So it's a studio pottery from the 60s maybe, or early 70s. I think possibly Melbourne area somewhere. I'm not too sure on that. Almost looks a little Aboriginal. So yeah, shame it's damaged, that one. All right, we're getting down to little nicks and knacks. That's a lid off that. So it's not a vase. It's more like a, well, it's got a spot for a spoon. So you'd nearly call it a sugar bowl, maybe a jam pot. I was going to call it a ginger jar, but not with the spoon. So yeah, I don't know what that's worth. We might have to check that. I'm thinking maybe 10 now that we've got a lid for it. A little bit more souvenir ware. We have a salt and pepper, well, a salt shaker here. Greetings from Upwey, which is a suburb of Melbourne. Northeastern, I think. Up in the Yarra Valley somewhere, perhaps. Don't know my Melbourne suburbs that well. And that one's the dog on the tucker box at Gundagai, classic Australian story. Gundagai's in New South Wales. So Souvenir, where we could probably just put $5 each, and certainly someone from those areas might well buy it, but not worth a great deal. Here we have a, is that a duck? I think it's a duck. Don't think it's, yeah, it's more of a duck than a swan, isn't it? No marks on it. Looks quite, oh, there is a mark. I might have to check that, or I might just say China. So just a little duck ornament. But again, sometimes people buy ornaments. I think we'll have a big pile of $5 ornaments. That's more of a, geez, is that cross between a swan and a penguin? It has very tiny feet and an extremely long neck. Certainly not a penguin, just an unusual shape. We'll call it a stylized duck swan. No idea. Okay, Saywell Imports. It's just a sticker on the bottom, so it's possibly Chinese or even Japanese made. They can go with our $5 ornaments. That's it, box is empty. You know what? I don't think we'll get another box. I think we'll sort all this out, clean it up and see what it adds up to. A lot of stuff out of a little box this week. What a haul from one tiny box, eh? I actually like going through China and pottery. I think, as I mentioned earlier, more so than glass, particularly if it's plain glass. If it's coloured glass, that's different. Right, what have we got here? Well, I've sorted them into prices. I've done a bit of checking on a few things. I've got the notepad over there, which we'll look at shortly. All this side, I'm going to put $5 each on. I think I mentioned that as we went through, everything should be pretty well as explained. We'll go $5 for the pair of those saucers. But when you do get a matching teacup, the tennis sets do sell quite well. So, for example, if we had a teacup for that, I would probably ask $15, maybe even $20. It does make a fair difference, but the plates on their own aren't that valuable. I've just gone $5 on this. I think that is the foxglove pattern, and that one cleaned up nicely. It has got the original cork, so someone would probably pay $10 easily if they needed one for a set, but we'll leave it for $5 for now. I do like to sell things. Everything else there as explained. This lot I've got $10 each on, including this bunny rabbit. It is Derbyshire, from what I believe. They only had stickers on their items, and quite often the stickers washed off or just fell off. I did see some rabbits identical to this with Derbyshire stickers on them. So that was a Western Australian pottery, started I think just around 1950, maybe a little bit earlier, and made a lot of ornaments, made some Aboriginal figurines, quite a few. Some stuff's particularly valuable. I did see records of some Derbyshire items making over $1,000 on eBay, so the rarer stuff does do very well. I'm going to put 10 on that. If I had the pepper shaker as well, I think we'd probably go 30 or 40 the set. We'll see how we go with that one. We've got to find someone that wants one or someone that just loves rabbits. This one, my French is non-existent, so I had no idea until I looked it up. It is a mustard pot, and I'm sure all you guys, especially in Europe, would have been yelling at the screen saying, it's not a vase, and when I found the lid, it's not a sugar bowl, it's a mustard pot. So I think, I don't know how you say that. I'm not even going to try, but I think that's a town, and that one obviously means mustard. Not worth a great deal. Found quite a few on eBay, so they're obviously quite common. So we'll try $10 on that. What else have I got to mention? Not much there, I think. This one, I've gone for 15 on this Shelley bowl because it's such a nice example and there's no damage. And the cream of the crop out of this box was the good old Australian Pottery. Lovely 1930s era renewed little pot. Well, I guess it's a vase, it could be a pot. But that's a nice piece. It's certainly the pick of them. This stuff over here I'm just going to put in a dollar box at the shop. I did glue this guy back together, and I think that's apple blossom, that pattern. So it glued together okay, but it's just going in the dollar box. So if you're sitting on a whole lot of English china in your cabinet that you've inherited from mum or grandma or something, and you're thinking, you know, all these cups and saucers are worth a lot of money, and grandma told me that Shelley was really valuable. Unfortunately, not worth anywhere near what it used to be, but it does add up. Now, $5 here and there, $10 here and there, a couple of better items out of a little box. What did you reckon? The total, just over $200. And that's not counting the dollar stuff. So it does add up when you've got some nicer quality stuff. But I look, and some might say, oh, you'll get $20 for that jug. Or, you know, easily get 10 for the salt shaker, maybe even 20. Yes, the right person would probably pay it, but I do work my shop that things turn over fairly quickly. I don't want to dust things. I don't want to keep moving them to different cabinets, waiting for that right person to come in. Some things I will. Some things that I really like and happy to have hang around in the shop, I'll price up a bit higher and quite happy to look at it each day. But general china, unless it's a super special item, I usually price cheap enough. Well, cheap to sell quickly. I've seen charity shops with English china priced much higher than I sell it at, and that's fine. But usually when you go back there, it's still there. This one, I'm going to price up a bit more because I do love Australian pottery. I used to have quite a substantial collection myself, and I think I should be able to get 40 for that. But if not, I won't mind it sitting in the cabinet. So thanks for coming along through that unwrapping and unboxing. I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, I really like this sort of stuff. It's enjoyable to discover. It's one of the reasons I like going to charity shops. I'm kind of drawn to the pottery and porcelain shelves because I've had some really good finds over the years. I did find a little pot similar to this one, which was actually marked PPP, which stood for Premier Potteries Preston, which was a forerunner to Remude. And I think I picked it up at a charity shop for like 20 cents. And this was going back about 15 years. Threw it on eBay. It made about $400. So I'm drawn to pottery. I like it myself, especially the Aussie stuff. And I guess you Germans like your West German pottery. Christine was born in Germany, so she has a connection. And everyone has their own tastes. I quite like this this glaze, this, what was it, shamrock pottery, which I think was connected with Wade. It's a nice style. I like the colours. So for people that collect pottery, you collect what you like. There's so many different sorts. And I like having this in the shop. I think it adds a nice dimension to the shop and it looks pretty in the cabinets. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.